So this is for extra credit. This is Act 1, Scene 4 through 7. And I'm going to be doing the reactions to the thing. So I must read the modern text for this. Okay. Has the former Thane of Cawdor been executed yet? Haven't the people in charge of that come back? My king, they haven't come back yet, but I spoke with someone who saw Cawdor die, and they said that Cawdor openly confessed his treasons, begged your highness forgiveness, and repented deeply. He never in his whole life looked as good as the way he did. He died like someone who had practiced how to toss away his most cherished possession as if it were a worthless piece of garbage. There is no way to read a man's mind by looking at his face. I trusted Cawdor completely. My worthiest kinsman, just this moment I was feeling guilt for not have thanked you enough. You have done so much for me that it has been impossible to reward you properly. If you deserved less, then perhaps my payment would have matched your deeds. All I can say is that I owe you more than I can ever repay. The opportunity to serve you is its own reward. Your only duty, your highness, is to accept what we owe you. Our duty to you and your state is like the duty of children to their father or servants to their master. By doing everything we can to protect you, we're only doing what we should. Well, me personally, I feel like the fact that the Cawdor felt the need to apologize, I feel like although he was judged because of his actions, he's not really a bad person. Because it's not like he didn't admit to what he did. He openly admitted to betraying the king. And I also think, although Duncan felt betrayed, he should have felt grateful in a way that the man had sympathy for hurting him in a way, and for all the bad things he did repent for it. Okay, I'm going to continue reading. I read that already, I think. Well, I'm going to read it again. The opportunity to serve you is its own reward. Your only duty, your highness, is to accept what we owe you. Our duty to you and your state is that duty of children to their father or servants for their master. By doing everything we can to protect you, we're only doing what we should. You are welcome here. By making you Thane of Cawdor, I've planted the seeds of a great career for you, and I will make sure that they grow. Noble Banquil, you deserve no less than Macbeth, and everyone should know no less to know it. Let me bring you close to me and give you benefit of my love and goodwill. Then if I accomplish anything great, it will be a credit to you. My joy is so overwhelming it brings tears to my eyes. My sons, my relatives, lords, and all those closest to me, I want you to witness that I will bestow my kingdom on my eldest son, Malcolm. Today I name him Prince of Cumberland, but Malcolm isn't going to be alone in receiving honors. Titles of nobility will shine like stars on all of you who deserve them. And now, let's go to your castle at Nervous, where I will become even more obliged to you because of your hospitality. Okay, so for this part, I feel like Macbeth knows what he's supposed to be getting, and it's just like by Duncan adding Malcolm to the equation, he's making it harder for Macbeth to take that title. If Macbeth is going to do something, he's going to have to take out both of them. He's not going to be successful by just taking out Duncan. And that's going to cause problems for him later on, because it's going to start to be suspicious if he kills one of them and then the other one comes up dead somehow. I'm not happy unless I can be working for you. I will go ahead and bring my wife the good news that you are coming. With that, I'll be off. My worthy Quador. Malcolm is now the Prince of Cumberland. To become king myself, I'm either going to have to step over him or give up because he's in my way. Stars, hide your light so no one can see the terrible desires within me. I won't let my eye look at what my hand is doing, but in the end, I'm still going to do the thing I'd be horrified to see. You're right, Banquio. Macbeth is every bit as valiant as you say, and I am satisfied with these praises of him. Let's follow after him now that he has gone ahead to prepare our welcome. He is a man without equal. The sad thing I noticed about this is that Duncan probably trusts Macbeth as he did the Thane of Cawdor when he was alive. And Macbeth is having so much guilt right now, he doesn't even want to acknowledge what he's doing. He wants to kind of sweep it under the rug so it won't hurt him as bad that he's doing the crime. He wants to avoid that guilt that's going to come with killing. Okay. The witches met me on the day of my victory in battle, and I have since learned that they have supernatural knowledge. When I tried desperately to question them further, they vanished into thin air. While I stood spellbound, messengers from the king arrived and greeted me as the Thane of Cawdor, which is precisely how the Weird Sisters had saluted me before calling me the future king. I thought I should tell you this news, my dearest partner in greatness, so that you could rejoice along with me about the greatness that is promised to us. Keep it secret, and farewell. She looks up from the letter. You are Thane of Glamis and Cawdor. You're going to be king, just like you were promised. But I worry about whether or not you have what it takes to seize the crown. You are too full of the milk of human kindness to strike aggressively at your first opportunity. You want to be powerful and you don't like ambition, but you don't have the mean streak that these things call for. The things you want to do like a good man. You don't want to cheat, yet you want what doesn't belong to you. There's something you want, but you're too afraid to do what you need to get it. You want it to be done for you. Hurry home so I can persuade you and talk you out of whatever is keeping you from going after the throne. After all, fate and witchcraft both seem to want you to be king. What news do you bring? The king is coming here tonight. You must be crazy to say that. Isn't Macbeth with the king? And wouldn't Macbeth have told me in advance so I could prepare if the king were really coming? I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Macbeth is coming. He sent the messenger ahead of him, who arrived here so out of breath he could barely speak the message. Take good care of him. He brings great news. So where it says you want to be power and you don't like ambition, but you don't have a mean streak to call these things call for, Lady Macbeth doesn't think her husband is mentally strong enough, but she does believe he's physically strong enough. And by her she feels like he's not going to go through with it because of his morals that he already has. And she's going to try to persuade him to act upon what he said he was so they can be in a higher place or a higher position as king and queen. So the messenger is short of breath like a hoarse raven as he announces Duncan's entrance into my fortress where he will die. Come, you spirits that assist murderous thoughts, make me less of a woman and more like a man, and fill me from head to toe with deadly cruelty. Thicken my blood and clog up my veins so I won't feel remorse, so that no human compassion can stop my evil plan or prevent me from accomplishing it. Come to my female breast and turn my mother's milk into poisonous acid, you murdering demons, wherever you hide, invisible and waiting to do evil. Come, thick night, and cover the world in the darkest smoke of hell so that my sharp knife can't see the wounds it cuts open, and so heaven can't peek through the darkness and say, no, stop. I feel like Lady Macbeth is the exact opposite of Macbeth, because she has the mental strength to carry out with assisting a murder, yet she doesn't have the physical strength to do it as herself. So that's why she's trying to persuade her husband to do it, rather she does it. Great Thane of Gammis, worthy Thane of Cawdor, you'll soon be greater than both those titles once you become king. Your letter has transported me from the present moment when who knows what will already happen, and has made me feel like the future's already here. My dearest love, Duncan is coming here tonight. And when is he leaving? He plans to leave tomorrow. That day will never come. Your face betrays strange feelings, my lord, and people will be able to read it like a book. In order to deceive them, you must appear in a way they expect you to look. Greet the king with a welcoming expression in your eyes, your hands, and your words. You should look like an innocent flower, but be like the snake that hides underneath the flower. The king is coming, and he got to be taken care of. Let me handle tonight's preparations, because tonight will change every night and day for the rest of our lives. We will speak about this further. You should project the peaceful mood, because if you look troubled, you will arouse suspicion. Leave all the rest to me. So it seems like Lady Macbeth has everything figured out. She has really thought about what the plan should be to murder and assassinate the king in a way. Because she's like getting ready to do everything. All he has to do is kill the man for her. And the fact that she has to remind her husband to be like a innocent flower is because she thinks still that his guilt is going to cause him to be one of the suspects of this murder. And she feels like she needs to tell him to do that, or the plan won't work at all. Because apparently she already feels like Macbeth is more of an innocent person that acts with morals instead of greed or selfishness. Okay. Okay, the castle is in a pleasant place. The air is sweet and appeals to my refined senses. The fact that this summer bird, the house martin, builds its nest here proves how inviting the breezes are. There isn't a single protrusion in the castle walls where these birds haven't built their hanging nests to sleep and breed. I've noticed that they always like to settle and mate where the air is always the nicest. Look, here comes our honored hostess. Sometimes the love my subjects bring me is inconvenient, but I still accept it as love. In doing so, I'm teaching you to thank me for the inconvenience I'm causing you by being here, because it comes from my love to you. Everything we're doing for you, even if it were doubled and doubled again, is nothing compared to the honors you have brought to our family. We gladly welcome you as our guest, with gratitude for both the honors you've given us before and the new honors you just have given us. Lady Macbeth seems to be able to do this perfectly. She knows what to say. She knows what not to do. And it's really sad that Duncan thinks this is love when these people are really trying to kill him just to take his position. And I think that's very sad that he has to go through that. and he doesn't have the power to discern every single person who wants to take his stuff away from him, whether it be to kill him or just to steal from him. He doesn't know how to read into people, but he doesn't really know because he never saw what the three witches told him, told Macbeth. So he probably would have no suspicion of Macbeth being a bad person. Where is Macbeth, the Thane of Cawdor? We followed more closely after him. I hoped to arrive here before him, but he rides swiftly, and his great love, which is as sharp as his spur, helped him beat us here. Fair and noble hostess, we are your guests tonight. We are your servants, your highness, and as always, our house and everything in it is at your disposal, for after all, we keep it in your trust, and we're glad to give you back what's yours. Give me your hand, bring me to my host, Macbeth. I love him dearly. I shall continue to favor him whenever you're ready, hostess. Okay. If this business would really be finished when I did the deed, then it would best to get it over with quickly. If the assassination of the king could work like a net, sweeping up everything and preventing any consequences, then the murder would be the all and end all of the whole affair, and I would gladly put my soul in the afterlife at risk to do it. But for crimes like these, there are still punishments in this world. By committing violent crimes, we only teach other people to commit violence, and the violence of our students will come back to plague us teachers. Justice, being equal to everyone, forces us to drink from the poisoned cup we serve to others. The king trusts me in two ways. First of all, I'm his kinsman and his subjects, so I should always try to protect him. Second, I am his host, so I should be closing the door in the murderer's face, not trying to murder him myself. Besides, Duncan has been such a humble leader, so free of corruption, that his virtuous legacy will speak for him when he dies, as if angels were playing trumpets against the injustice of his murder. Pity, like an innocent newborn baby, will ride the wind with winged angels on invisible horses through the air to spread news of the horrid deeds to everyone everywhere. People will shed a flood of tears that will drown the wind like a horrible downpour of the rain. I can't spur myself to action. The only thing motivating me is ambition, which makes people rush ahead of themselves towards disaster. So what I feel like about what he's saying, the fact that he knows that he's going to suffer consequences and he's still going through it, I don't know, that kind of makes him seem like a villainous character, even though he's one of the main characters. Because he won't just let things come naturally. He has to force them to come. And he knows by forcing them to come, there will be consequences for his actions. And I also feel like since he said, that the poisonous cup that we give to other people, we will drink from that same cup, is since he killed someone, somebody's probably going to try to kill him for probably the same exact reason. To get what he has, just like he did someone else. Because what goes around comes around is what he's saying. Okay, what news do you have? He has almost finished dinner. Why did you leave the dining room? Has he asked for me? Don't you know he has? We can't go on with this plan. The king has just honored me, and I earned the good opinion of all sorts of people. I want to enjoy these honors while the feeling is fresh and not throw them away so soon. Were you drunk when you seemed so hopeful before? Have you gone to sleep and woken up green and pale in fear of this idea? From now on, this is what I'll think of your love. Are you afraid to act the way you desire? Will you take the crown you want so badly, or will you live as a coward, always saying I can't after I want to? You're like the poor cat in the old story. Please stop. I dare to only do what is proper for a man to do. He who dares to do more is not a man at all. If you weren't a man, then what kind of animal were you when you first told me you wanted to do this? When you dared to do it, that's when you were a man. And if you go one step further, by doing what you dared to do before, you'll be much more of the man. The time and place weren't right before, but you have gone ahead with the murder anyhow. Now the time and place are just right, but they're almost too good for you. I have suckled a baby, and I know how sweet it is to love the baby at my breast. But even as the baby was smiling up at me, I would have plucked my nipple out of his mouth and smashed its brains out against the wall if I had sworn to do that the same way you have sworn to do this. Lady Macbeth is definitely trying to guilt trip this man to do a murder so she can have things. Like, I feel like the villainous character might be Macbeth's own wife, because her doing this, if he gets caught doing this, she's not going to get in trouble. He's going to pay for what he did. Even though she convinced him to do it, she won't be punished greatly. I feel like he will. He always will, because he's the one who did the deed, whether that he was trying to be encouraged to do it or not. And I just think it was violent how she said she would have smashed its brains out against the wall, even if she said she was going to do it. I don't think that was a good example for her to use, because that just seems immoral. But I understand what she's saying, because you're supposed to do what you say you're going to do. But it's the task that he's dared, like, not dared to do, but like told to do in order to get a position. Like, killing someone is such a horrendous thing to do for power that it's really not surprising that his morals are kind of forcing him to like shy away from going through it. But if we fail, we fail. If you get your courage up, we won't fail. We can't fail. When Duncan is asleep, the day's hard journey has definitely made him tired. I'll get his 2 servants so drunk that their memory will go up in smoke through the chimneys of their brains. When they lie asleep like pigs, so drunk they'll be dead to the world. What won't you and I be able to do to the unguarded Duncan? And whatever we do, we can only blame it on the drunken servants. May you give birth to male children, because your fearless spirit should create nothing that isn't masculine. Once we have covered the 2 servants with blood and used their daggers to kill, won't people believe they were the culprits? Who could think it happened any other way? We'll be grieving loudly when we hear that Duncan has died. Now I'm decided I will exert every muscle in my body to commit this crime. Go now and pretend to be a friendly hostess. Hide with a false pleasant face what you know in your false evil heart. Okay, so basically, I think it's kind of weird how Macbeth says only give birth to male children. I understand that, but it confused me that she could still have a female and still create a feministic type child, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, And she is very evil. Macbeth had that figured out because she's like setting this up and she's saying we'll be grieving loudly when we hear that Duncan has died. I'm just wondering how she thinks that her grieving will be real when she's literally one of the people who killed him. Like, I don't understand how people can act like that unless they're like psychopathic or something. Because I feel like it would be hard when you wanted somebody to be dead and then you do it to feel sympathy. But I don't know, because they're just confusing because, like, you hear her saying something. Now she got him on board with it. Then they're going to cry and act like they were like innocent victims of losing their king. But I really feel like Lady Macbeth is the true villain in this, because I feel like Macbeth is sort of weak-minded when it comes to what his wife wants. And even though he wanted the king's place, I do not think he would have went through with the plan had Lady Macbeth not talked him into it. So yeah, that was Act 1, Scene 4 through 7. And yeah, extra credit.